Pacific Ocean is absolutely stunning, in my opinion. It's gorgeous to look at and beautiful sunsets. But it has two negatives. One of them is it has very dangerous currents that they can actually take you deep into the ocean and they can drown you. It's very, very difficult, if not impossible, to escape them. And the worst of all, people panic, and that's even worse. Look at the waves. Notice how far they usually reach. Then watch how suddenly one rushes much further up the beach. They can easily knock you off your feet because they pull the sand out from under our feet, so we lose our balance and fall. God knows how many times this has happened to me. In my experience, this is much worse when I'm walking at the edge of the beach and water just to wet my feet a little bit. That's when the tragedy usually can happen. The worst part is when the wave is returning. It's not even that high. That's the interesting part. But they are so strong to drag us back into the water, or at least force us to fall. If you look at that lady and the kid, the wave wasn't even that high. From afar, it looks very innocent. But see how fast they run away because they realized its force. Unfortunately, these waves catch many visitors by surprise, especially those who are not familiar with the California beaches. That's exactly what happened to me, and it taught me never to underestimate the Pacific Ocean. Never ever.
One time I was done swimming on my boogie board and started walking out of the ocean. Suddenly I got caught in a horrible current. I had my boogie board attached to my wrist. The strong waves kept knocking me down. Every time I tried to get up, another wave would drag both me and the board back into the water. It was horrible. In the middle of my struggle, I heard dreadful, mocking laughter. I looked up, saw a group of 15 or 16-year-old boys standing there laughing instead of coming and helping me. I was so angry, but it took me a few seconds to realize that they weren't laughing because I kept falling. But one side of my top had slipped, and one side of my chest was completely exposed. Like I didn't have enough problems. Now I had to hold my top in place with one hand while trying to pull myself out and while trying to bring out the boogie board as well. It was a very, very desperate situation. And nobody came to help me. I considered screaming for help, but the Pacific Ocean has a pattern. It throws a few very powerful waves at you. Then it calms down for about 10 to 15 waves, more or less, before it becomes dangerous again. So I was lucky that this calm moment happened and I just threw myself on the sand, fixed my bikini, and then detached myself from the boogie board.
Hawaiians are very, very good at surfing. It's like walking to them. A Hawaiian knowing to surf is like a Nordic person knowing to ski. When I was in Hawaii, I was told that from the time they are small children, their parents always tell them never ever turn your back to the ocean because the waves of the Pacific sometimes completely surprise you. One time I was walking on the beach. It was very calm and quiet. The beauty of the Hawaii is that the weather is really, really nice. Even at night, it's so pleasant. So I was enjoying my walk by the beach when suddenly I got the surprise waves that lasts for a few waves. And it completely wet my thighs. Even though I wasn't even in the water, I was walking by the ocean. So the same pattern happens, or similar patterns happen in Los Angeles as well. When I was in Hawaii, I was snorkeling completely still so I wouldn't scare the fish swimming around. I was about 3 or 4 feet above a rock. Then the water suddenly started up and down. Each time it dropped, my face got so close to the rock, it was so scary. I was sure the next wave would slam me into it. And the wave was so strong, even though I tried to move out of that area, I wasn't. It was lucky that the water eventually lifted me back up after a few waves. It was a great reminder to me that the Pacific Ocean can look calm 1 second but turn unpredictable the next. These things are the reason we have to be very careful with the Pacific Ocean. Once a guy with his son, who was about 8, 9 years old, were standing on the beach and they were looking at the surfers. And the way dad was looking at the surfers, it was like, I wish I was there. I said, why don't you surf? Because it looks like you really, really want to do it. And he said, no, I used to surf, but you have no idea how dangerous they can be. And he said, just look at those waves. Sometimes they go too high and you're on top of the wave, and then suddenly the wave breaks and you're right on top of nothing. Suddenly it's just you and air. And then you fall. It can be very, very painful and dangerous. A lot of the times the falls happen when you're in shallow waters, and so that's why I'm not doing the surfing anymore, and that's why I won't allow my son to surf either. The other negative thing about Pacific Ocean water and in general in Los Angeles is that the nights get cold. First of all, the water is never warm and it never has a nice temperature. It's always cold. Day, night, summer, winter, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what is the temperature during the day. At night, it's always cold. In general, it's not one of those places like Florida or Hawaii that you have a very nice stroll by the beach at night and it's very beautiful temperature and you enjoy it very much. Almost always you have to have a kind of sweater with you. That's why I'm always carrying a few different layers of clothes in my car. I love you. I love you.